Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to be doing a highly requested video. How do I read so much? So in my January wrap-up I read 16 books, and in my February wrap-up I read 11. So everybody was asking, how do I have time to do this since I go to school and I make videos? How do I find time to read? How do I read so fast? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's just start with the logistics. I'm just a very fast reader in general. In elementary school we used to have these races to see how many kids could read a certain amount of books in a week. I just trained myself to be very fast reader. I'm not a speed reader, but I do read faster than the average person does. So for starters, to help with that, obviously I read fast, but if you want to help with that, I always bring a book with me. So whether that be like an e-reader like this Nook, or whether it be a mass market paperback, I bring it with me to school, I bring it with me to coffee shops, I bring it with me in my purse in case I ever find time to read. The next thing is I pick books that I know are going to be something that I enjoy. I really research on Goodreads what has a good rating, what has good reviews. If it has a 3 on Goodreads, it may be something that you enjoy, but it also may be something that's really not that great considering it got a pretty mediocre score. This book got about a 4.5 on Goodreads, so I picked it up, I looked at it, I realized it was something that really interested me, and I ended up reading it in a day. It's almost 500 pages. So also in my downtime, I read. Usually I will read from about when I get home from class sometimes, or at night, before dinner, I'll read, 4 to 6, and then later on I'll read, 8 to 11 or something like that. I'll just sit around and read, or I'll play a game in between a few chapters. For me, I really devote a lot of time to that. I used to watch a ton of TV shows, and I do still watch some, but for the most part I've picked up reading to replace that. So for me, I find a lot more time to read. Another one of my tips is I read more than one book at once. Some people really can't do this. They have a hard time juggling plot structures. I really don't. For me, it's never been a problem. So right now I'm reading 3 different books, and I'm able to decipher them all, but usually what I'll do is I'll pick books that don't have any kind of overlap. Like, I'm reading a Game of Thrones, but I'm also reading a novel, a historical fiction novel, and then I'm also reading a poetry book. So none of those really overlap. None of the characters can really overlap. So for me, I can really figure out which plot line goes with which. So I really highly recommend that. Some people really have a hard time reading more than one book, but for me that's just something that I've always done. I've always read more than one at once. It's never been a problem for me. I can really decipher between those, and that definitely helps me because I can pick which book and which story I really want to read, and it just helps me get through them faster. If you really want to become like a speed reader, I know there are tactics to do that online. I don't really care because for me, I really want to be able to absorb what the novel is saying. I know for a lot of speed readers that they just read and read and read and read. It's not really for enjoyment. For me, I read really fast when I really enjoy a book. So that's a really big key, is picking novels that you know you're actually going to enjoy. Sometimes that can be hard, obviously you don't know for sure that you're really going to enjoy a novel, but if it's something in your realm, say I probably wouldn't pick up a nonfiction book about being a doctor or about medicine. None of that really interests me. But if you say, wow, that really interests me, pick it up. You're way more likely to read faster and enjoy it more when you enjoy the book. So don't try to force yourself to read, an 800-page mystery book if you absolutely hate mysteries. It's just not going to be something that you like, even if somebody recommends it to you. It's really important that when somebody gives you a recommendation, you consider it. You're like, do you think this is something I would actually really like? Because if it's not, don't force yourself to do it. You're gonna take forever reading it. There were books that I used to have to read for my AP classes. I hated some of them, so it took me forever to read them. If you just take the time to figure out what kind of book you really like and look up the reviews on it, does it have good ratings? If it has a 2 or 3 on Goodreads, it's probably not that great of a book. So those are some of my tips on how I read fast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. If you have any more requests, just leave them down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you back here later. Si